That's all I can say right there. Let's get back to our forecast now with Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich. And Brad, that's just one of the stories of downed trees, power lines, flooding across our area.
Wind and flooding.
There's a lot of people in need tonight and this weekend and going into the next couple of weeks. If there is anything you can do, just lend a hand. It's not always financial. I know everyone doesn't have the means to help everybody financially, but if there's something you can do to help out, our neighbors across the Carolinas are going to need our help, especially in the mountains where there's complete devastation in many locations. We haven't even heard or seen the worst of it yet because of the lack of communications. Big upper low back to the west has absorbed Helene. It's actually pulled it in there, and that's where the system is going to be. Now, the dry air has moved in, so we do not need another drop of rain, and right now it doesn't look like we'll have much of a chance here in the next couple of days. These are the 48-hour rainfall totals, and the radar is underestimating some of these. Upper Burke County, Jonas Ridge area, got one report, and it's a confirmed weather station and spotter, 35 inches of rain down to the south around Mount Mitchell. Had a couple reports of around 27, 28 inches of rain, and all that rain has to go downstream. So for us, the headwaters of the Catawba River chain, which includes Lake Norman, Lake Wiley, Mountain Island Lake, all starts up here in the Linville Gorge, Upper Burke County. All these creeks and streams eventually flow into Lake James. Lake James, all-time record crest likely at the dam there, 10 feet above full pond, moves down here to Lake Rotus, Lake Hickory, eventually Lookout Shoals, then Lake Norman. Lake Norman's the biggest lake, holds the most water, so they try to store as much as they can, but you can only store so much. They got to release some water downstream to make room for the water that's coming from upstream. So the water's all got to go downstream, but unfortunately this is a bottleneck in the system. Between the Collins Ford Dam and down into Lake Wiley, that includes Mountain Island Lake and Riverside Drive, the water floods here. It does flood quite a bit. It would flood all the time if it wasn't for the dams, but in cases like this, when the water gets released from the dam, you're going to see flooding there. So expect high water levels. They're releasing water from Lake Norman, several floodgates open. They've been releasing water from Lake Wiley to make room for the water that's coming downstream, and all of this eventually flows down to the Atlantic. So here's our tropical moisture getting pushed out, drier air filtering into the region. This dry air gets reinforced next week, so there's no signs of another tropical entity of any kind, even if it was a stalled front and tropical moisture, because we just don't need that now. You just get a normal rainstorm right now, and that would cause major, major problems. So tonight through tomorrow, the winds will still stay breezy. Still got that upper low back to the west, so it will be breezy, just not damaging winds, and a few showers possible on Sunday into Monday, but the chances around 20–30%. So as we go through the weekend, we will see temperatures near 80 on Saturday and Sunday with minimal rain chances. But what we'll be watching all this weekend, even with the sunshine, are the river and creeks and lake levels. And Brittany Van Voorhees has been looking at these numbers. And Brittany, we may have struggled to get some of this information, just like we're trying to communicate with people. A lot of our stream gauges aren't working either.
Yeah, especially the one here, Watauga River, one of my first ones here near Sugar Grove. It was already really high to the record, or really close to the record crest. It is not updated since 12:30. Now we are seeing some higher numbers here for the South Fork New River at Highway 221 in Jefferson, really close to those levels. And then I do have two areas that we already know we've seen record crests, and these are in Burke and Caldwell counties. The first one is Johns River at Arnie Store. In fact, it's actually going up still, the current level. Hunting Creek at Morganton, we already knew that peaked a little bit as well, but the Hunting Creek at Morganton also not reading any longer. So that's, of course, in Burke County. We have Wilson Creek at Collettsville, around 23 feet, in Catawba River at Rotus Dam. This one's also going up. Notice how close it is now to peak at that record crest. I shaded these in red because they've already gotten there, but I mean, we're talking 0.38, doing quick math there. Now, as we look ahead, of course, look further downstream, we know that the water levels, of course, will continue to go downstream, eventually into parts of Gaston, Mecklenburg, York County, parts of the Charlotte Metro. So we have the South Fork Catawba River at Lowell there in Gaston County, also starting to slowly creep up. We are almost certain that Mountain Island Dam will get very close to that record as well. Part of the reason why a lot of folks have been evacuated from that region. But again, thankfully, Brad, you said it just a second ago, we don't have any, it looks like, significant weather-related events this weekend to make this even worse, and I'm hoping in the next week we can have as well.
Yeah, so we'll go to your Guy Roofing 7-day forecast. We've got a home Panthers game this weekend. Weather should be fine for that, an isolated shower. You see a few showers on Monday, but most of these will be pretty scattered. In the 10-day forecast, we'll go longer out to keep the rain away. Maybe a few showers next weekend, but cooler, drier weather looks like it's going to stick around as October is here and we actually start to see more October-like weather.